Hudson County View live at Uncut. I'm your host, the guy who's interesting and the best thing since 90s pro wrestling, John Arhitis. And it's truly a pleasure and a privilege to be back. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you to everyone who will watch. And of course, thank you to Hudson Media Group for having me back. It feels great, honestly. So with that said, we got a lot to talk about this week, and we're going to talk Mile Square City news. Two items of interest so far. What we're going to be talking about today in Hoboken involves a lawsuit that was filed by Hoboken Councilwoman Tiffanie Fisher. This was about the pay-to-play limits in the city, as some call it, specifically for unions. Used to be $500. The council voted twice, actually, to raise that limit to $7,200, which is the statewide limit. And that was actually dismissed. So we're going to tell you what happened there. We're also going to talk about last night's 3-hour council meeting where they approved, quote-unquote, common sense legal cannabis regulations. So we're going to tell you exactly what that means. We're also going to talk a little bit about this settlement out of Hudson County Community College. A former vice president there got about a $250,000 settlement, so we're going to tell you what that means. We're also today going to be joined remotely by Bayonne Council President Sharon Ashe-Nadrowski. Of course, she's running for mayor, and that's already just a little over a month away. Those are the May 10th nonpartisan municipal elections, so we got a lot to talk about there. We're also going to talk about a whole lot more right after we hear a word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights. Your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments. Carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John Arhitis. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, today I'm joined remotely by Bayonne Council President Sharon Ashe-Nadrowski, who's also running for mayor on May 10th. Council President, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks. You're welcome. So let's start here. Obviously, you've been on the council for the better part of the last 8 years, and you ran with Mayor Jimmy Davis in 2014 and again in 2018. And I hear from his camp and people that support the mayor and his team that you guys were basically in lockstep for 6.5, 7 years. And then when your political ambitions came along, you just decided to break off. That's how they view it. Obviously, I'm sure you look at it a different way. So tell me what happened from your perspective.
Well, Jimmy Davis isn't the same Jimmy Davis. I think everyone around knows that he's changed. He's not the same person I ran with 8 years ago. And that's pretty much why I'm running, because I think I could do what Bayonne needs. I think we need more open, honest, transparent government. And I think just Jimmy, he's turned his back on the residents of Bayonne.
All right, so let's elaborate on that. When you say he's turned his back on the residents, what do you mean? Give me a couple examples.
Well, he no longer listens to the residents, right? He claims that, there's a stop on development, but the very next day, the people he's running with are not voting down the development. And just open government. We used to have an open door policy in City Hall. I was sat at the table. I knew what was going on before it happened. Residents could come in and you could really just walk into the mayor's office and talk to him. As recently as 2 weeks ago, if you called for an appointment with the mayor, the message you got is the mayor wasn't taking meetings now. That's, we're not getting the services we deserve, and we get no answers from City Hall.
All right, fair enough then. So let's talk a little bit, if you are elected, you've talked about publicly a few things. Specifically, you had your quality of life plan come out a few days ago. So you were talking about garbage collection, you were talking about parking, which of course is a big deal throughout the state really, but certainly Bayonne and Hudson County no exception. And a few other things. I won't rehash it, of course, but tell us just a little bit, for those who may have missed it, what you plan to do on that quality of life platform.
Yeah, well, the three major things, right? We have parking, fixing the roads, and garbage pickup. So garbage pickup, probably the easiest one, because quite honestly, the first thing I would do is, rebid a contract with clearly defined, pickup times. First of all, assess what pickup times and the frequency that's needed. And then when we bid a contract, have it explicitly define what those expectations are. When are the pickup hours, how frequent, and also the protocol and process in which that's done and how it's done, because it's not being done correctly. There's always garbage left behind. There's garbage rolling in the street. Garbage cans are rolling down the street. They're in people's driveways. They're hitting people's cars. And another serious thing I would consider is, maybe it's time, we evaluate whether we bring that service back in-house, if we have the capacity to do it, and let Bayonne be responsible for Bayonne. That's a real consideration.
All right, now.
And as far as
parking, sorry, go ahead.
As far as parking, we have every lot. Parking's a premium everywhere you go, right? All over Hudson County. But all of the municipal lots are flat, one-level lots. The only way to really get more parking is to go up. We really need to build everything into parking decks, and how we're going to pay for that, with the proceeds from our parking meters and parking violations, and actually asking the developers, or not asking, but kind of demanding that the developers, if they want to come and develop in Bayonne, that they contribute to this, because it only makes everyone's business and more profitable.
Okay, very good. Now, as you're well aware, your opponent in this race, the main opponent at least, and his team have made a lot about the super PACs that are getting involved. There's this fair amount of outside money coming in, or at least so it would seem. We haven't seen anything on the FEC or ELEC reports just yet. Maybe next week, maybe not at all, who knows. But, what's your take when they continually go to this point?
As far as I know, there's only one candidate in the race who has admitted to accepting dark money funds, and that is Mayor Jimmy Davis from Senator Ray Lesniak's PAC, and associated with Sean Cattle, a convicted murderer. So he's the only one that admitted and is known to have been accepting money from any dark money. And I don't know how much darker you get than murder, so.
All right, fair point. So with that, we're actually going to take a quick break, Council President. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, certified parts and service located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View live on Uncut. John Arhitis, and I'm still joined with Bayonne City Council President Sharon Ashe-Nadrowski, a candidate for mayor. So just on that previous topic, just for a clerical point, there are, I know at least 3 super PACs that have done at least one mailer apiece. Not saying that anyone coordinated or did coordinate, but just saying, there's a lot of interest outside of Bayonne in this race. So, talking about outside interest, I know something that you've talked about is this Bayonne Urban Partners Renewal, that 1,250 unit MOPI project. So this was something that's been in the pipeline about 6-7 years. So for almost the entire duration of your guys' terms in office. And basically, in a nutshell, you said this deal is no longer any good and it's undervalued by about $60 million. So for those that may not have been following along closely, could you just give us a brief synopsis of what's happening here and why you feel the way that you do today?
6 years ago, when we were finally had gotten out all the lawsuits that was plaguing any development down at the base, one of the deals we had was with Borai Development was sold them a piece of property, or we entered a new contract with giving them the rights to a piece of property, as we had with many other developers down there. That at that time, which was 6 years ago, we valued the property at the going rate for that time, and we also gave a pilot for the economic situation that Bayonne was in at that time 6 years ago. As you all know, if you drive down the base in Bayonne, there's a ton of development down there, right? We have Starbucks, we have Lido, we have Costco, we have numerous residential buildings down there. So it's really booming down there. We have a large portion of the waterfront walkway completed. And 6 years later, almost 7 years later, the developer comes in and he wants to now to execute on that contract and buy the property for what was the value 6 years ago. And mind you, he never drew down on the land. So he has not paid 1 penny of taxes. He has not paid for the upkeep of that land. Bayonne has. We are responsible for that property. We keep it clean. We cut the grass. We rake the dirt. We are 100%. Bayonne taxpayers have been paying for it, the upkeep. And now he comes in 6 years later and wants to execute, but the value of that property has more than tripled. I don't think that's fair. There are other pieces of property that have not been developed, that we gave out at that time, but they drew down on the land and they're paying taxes on them, and they have been paying taxes on them. So, I don't see how that's fair for the Bayonne residents.
All right. Now, you've talked about introducing some local legislation that would basically renegotiate the deal at the April 20th City Council meeting. But I have a question. So the vote on this at the Planning Board is April 12th, right?
The vote on the plan is April 12th, yes.
Okay. So if the Planning Board approves this... Okay. So if the Planning Board approves this on April 12th, would that make any legislation a week later, would that make it like a moot point, or no? How would that work?
We'll have to see. I do have, I have announced I'm doing a press conference tomorrow more about the redevelopment in Bayonne. It will include this particular development.
All right, I figured it would, so I'm looking forward to that.
But it goes back to another interesting, you mentioned the planning board, the mayor announced, and I got a flyer from him about his halt on development again. His halt, but not halt. He's calling for a halt, but not a halt on development at the base. He's calling for a halt on pilots, but not a halt on pilots at the base. I'm on the planning board and on the 12th, and we have a packed agenda. So there's an awful lot of the planning board stuff still going on in terms of redevelopment. So I'm not really sure where that halt is.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see, but it looks like it's going to be an interesting meeting one way or the other. So obviously we've heard your perspective, and you're familiar with the mayor's team as well, but they had a pretty strong statement the last time we talked about this a few weeks ago. I won't read the whole thing, but in part, Davis campaign spokesman Phil Swabinsky said Sharon Nadrowski's insane plan to break an ironclad contract that she herself supported and her campaign manager Joe DeMarco personally negotiated for the city would be one of the most irresponsible, nonsensical actions Bayonne could ever take. Your reaction to that?
Well, quite honestly, I find it insane that the mayor wouldn't be fighting for the residents in Bayonne to get their fair share. I don't think it's insane of me to try every avenue to make sure that the city is not losing out on $60 million so that a developer who contributed to that black dark money pact that we talked about earlier that involves Sean Cattle, that he should just get to walk away with $60 million. That $60 million can go a long way to fixing a lot of the issues that we talk about in Bayonne. The park index, the garbage contract, our schools, a lot of quality of life and issues that really matter to Bayonne are what the mayor should be worried about, not so much how much money Wasim Bouride Group is going to get in a profit.
All right. Thank you, Council President. So before I let you call it a day, just when voters are heading to the voting booth on May 10th, what's the difference between you and Mayor Jimmy Davis, and why should they pick you?
If they want open, transparent, and honest government, if they want to have a say in development before it starts, I've been doing that. I've been out in the community holding them, and it's not just something that's going to be during, campaign season. It's a way of government. It's the way of the future. It's involving our residents. After all, they're the ones that live here, and everything that happens in this town is for their benefit, and they should have a say in what exactly that is.
Council President, thank you very much for your time. Been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. We're not done yet, though. We'll be right back after this commercial.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Introducing the all-new Ford Maverick. A truck for people who do stuff. And people who make stuff. People like Gabrielle Union.
I make this look good, don't I?
Who haul whatever they want to wherever they want. Like wood to build things made of wood with. And friends to get weird with. It's for long trips that the standard hybrid engine with a targeted EPA estimated city fuel economy rating of 40 miles per gallon helps with. That an 8-inch touchscreen connects with. And any trip that this interior makes more comfortable. But we'll let Gabrielle tell you all about it.
Or I could just tell them it's a Ford truck that starts at less than $20,000 MSRP.
Yep, that works too. The all-new Ford Maverick, built to defy expectations.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, John Arhitis. So as I mentioned at the top of the program, we had some interesting happenings in the Mile Square City this week. So let's tackle what's going on in Hoboken. So first of all, let's talk about what happened at Hudson County Superior Court 6 days ago. At that time, Superior Court Judge Joseph Tarula heard a case that was filed by 2nd Ward Councilwoman Tiffanie Fisher, and she alleged that the city violated some statutes to substantially change the pay-to-play. It says that the ordinance introduced, which was ultimately approved twice, once in December and once in February, substantially changed by its sponsors just an hour before the vote without any notice given to the public or a public hearing on the amendments, which again would violate state statute. So that's the long and short of it. And, very unusual to see an elected official filing a legal case in a situation like this one, but that's exactly what happened here. And the second vote came after the lawsuit was filed, and it passed pretty easily once again. So, not really a surprise if you've been following Hoboken even a little bit. But this case on Friday was dismissed with prejudice. So basically that's the end. And I mean, it looked like after they voted a second time, there wasn't really much place for this to go. But with that said, we heard from city spokeswoman Marilyn Barr, and she said the city thanks the courts for swiftly dismissing this case that had absolutely no merit or cause with prejudice. The Office of Corporation Counsel will begin the process of seeking reimbursement from the councilwoman for legal fees incurred in mounting a defense. Again, very unusual to see an elected suing the city that they represent, and now you have a situation where the city's actually going to go after the council representative for legal fees. So only in Hoboken type of stuff here. And we heard from Scott Salmon, who served as counsel for Fisher in this matter, and he pointed to quite a few examples why this was not a frivolous case at all. He said, in part, if her lawsuit was frivolous, then why did the council agree to reintroduce and readopt the ordinance if not to fix their own mistakes? If her lawsuit was frivolous, then why did the council repeatedly admit they were trying to fix their mistakes specifically because the lawsuit had been filed? In reality, this lawsuit produced a very clear and positive result for the residents of the city of Hoboken in the form of increased transparency. So there's, and you know, of course, in typical Hoboken fashion as well, we heard from Mayor Ravi Bala's allies on the council, that's Phil Cohen, Emily Jabor, Jim Doyle, and Joe Quintero. They all had some choice words for Councilwoman Fisher, and I'll read you just what we got from Joe Quintero. What's disappointing here is that there was a missed opportunity for Councilwoman Fisher to reach out to her council colleagues to solve this issue, an issue, by the way, which was solved by a simple revote. Instead, she jumped to costly litigation at the expense of our taxpayers. Our residents expect more from us. In reply, Fisher said to her four colleagues that, not a surprise that my colleagues Jabor and Cohen have short revisionist memories, I asked in a public forum if the sponsors would follow the advice of counsel and reintroduce the ordinance. Jabor was silent, and Cohen said he didn't agree it was warranted. And she also brings up an interview from this very studio when I spoke with Councilwoman Jabor, and she said she didn't see any need to reintroduce the ordinance at that time. So this is pretty interesting, but we're going to just go right on into another topic out of the Mile Square. We're going to talk about this municipal complex. So as you guys know, they've been talking about this for probably the better part of the year, really. I mean, we first heard a lot about it in detail anyway, but the mayor's state of the city. And you know, they actually mentioned it to me in a comment when I was talking about the Poggi Press property. So what is the Poggi Press? It's located at 1501 Adams Street, and this is where the location of the complex. You can't really see it too well in the corner, but there's four different proposals. One would be, it would have a civic center, two would have a pool and parking, three would have recreation center on top of the pool and parking, and four would have pool, parking, rec center, and a field house. So yeah, there you go. That gives you a better look of how that would look. You know, of course, those are just renderings, but it's not going to come cheap, right? It's $152.5 million for the first version, and it's $192.5 million for the last version. So anyway, back to the Poggi Press. This would be on the Poggi Press site, and at this current point in time, the city does not own that land. They did approve the ability to use eminent domain a couple months ago, but that's not going to fly unless they approve a $44 million bond. And the first reading passed 5-4. The second reading got carried for the past two meetings. And that second reading is crucial to move the project forward. And interestingly, the second reading of a bond ordinance needs 6 votes. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out. Nevertheless, they're moving forward as if this thing is happening. So we're going to see what we're going to see. And one person who spoke prominently at the meeting was Director of Environmental Services Jennifer Gonzalez. That is the public meeting at the Multi-Service Center on Monday. So the interesting thing is they said they're going to do this by keeping the taxpayer burden low by partnering with developers. Long story short, the LCOR project agreement, Site 2, they're projected could be $21.5 million. The second pilot was $31.7 million from the Newman Leathers project. So an interesting approach. I don't know if that's going to get us into the $100 millions, but the city seems confident that it will. She said the burden on the taxpayer would be around $28.5 to $38.5 million, though that's over the course of the next 3 decades. So obviously we're keeping a close eye on this, but again, it's not going anywhere unless they get that 6th vote on the bond. So let's see when they even put it on the agenda. And also in Hoboken last night, just very quickly, you know, we've heard a lot from some of the statewide outlets, and we've reported also, of course, about the common sense legal cannabis reforms, and that passed yesterday at a pretty contentious meeting at times. A lot of residents said they didn't want cannabis at all. Others said that they didn't want to see 6 dispensaries in the city. But under this local legislation, there's 6 dispensaries, there's a C3 zone exemption, no grandfather clause, and a little bit more. That one just came up late this morning, early this afternoon, so I'll let you check that out for yourself. We're going to take one more break, and we'll be right back.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Hudson County View live on Uncut. John Arhitis. As I mentioned at the top of the program, there was a settlement that actually came back in August, and it was a pretty significant one, $250,000, and it was filed by a former Hudson County Community College Vice President of Administrative Services, and he alleged in this court filing that was several years old at this point, there was at least one instance of questionable contractor billing and construction vendor selection. So let's take a look at what exactly we got here. So Thomas Brodowski received $65,004.72 for alleged emotional distress and another $65,004.72 for lost wages, while the remaining $119,990.56 went to his attorney, Kevin Costello. That's according to a copy of the August 4th, 2021 agreement. This lawsuit was initially filed at Hudson County Superior Court on June 13, 2016. Like I said, not exactly brand new, but he stood the course. And this was actually rejected on summary judgment in 2018, and the appellate court restored it in January 2021. So just to paint a bit of a picture, he said that an ex-college employee, Joseph Tortorelli, deviated from a contract with a custodial contractor without consent from counsel, billing HCV per square foot and charging for supplies instead of billing per hour and paying for supplies out of pocket. And an audit found that the school had been, quote unquote, substantially overbilled, and that was mentioned in the appellate court's decision. And the second allegation involved Little Falls-based Mass Construction, who built the North Hudson branch of the college in Union City at a cost of about $40 million. And he alleged that they were not the lowest bidder for the job, but it was selected due to the assistance of then HCCC President Dr. Glenn Gabbard and HCCC Board Chair William Netcher. At the end of the day, as with most settlements, none of the allegations have been proven or disproven, and there's also a non-disparagement clause that says neither party may make public derogatory comments about the other in the media or elsewhere. So unfortunately, that's all she wrote on that, and we're not really going to get any more color. Before we call it a week, I, of course, wanted to just acknowledge one more time the St. Peter's Peacocks. Of course, the historic run by this small university right over on John F. Kennedy Boulevard made national headlines for a couple weeks there, and just really impressive stuff. Even if you're not a big basketball fan, you know, to see the number 15th seed pull off those 3 consecutive upsets over Kentucky, Murray State, and then Purdue. I mean, just real Netflix movie stuff happened in real life. It was just truly a sight to behold. And it was great for Jersey City, and it will hopefully be great for the university going forward. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get a lot of these stars, and the head coach, of course, Shaheem Holloway, is going to Seton Hall. So, you know, it seems unlikely that this is something we see again anytime soon, but it was quite a ride while it lasted. And of course, Friday, 6 days ago, we saw Mayor Stephen Fulop in Jersey City give a parade, short one, maybe 5-6 blocks down JFK Boulevard. They stopped right in front of the university for remarks from some of the faculty, some of the coaches, some of the players, and they also got the keys to the city. I've seen a few keys to the city given in my day, but none of this scale and scope, and definitely none for athletic achievement. So again, a big, hearty congratulations to the St. Peter's Peacocks. What a season it was. So let me just take you back to the parade for a moment. And, you know, I think the St. Peter's president, Eugene Cornacchia, says it pretty succinctly. The world has learned what St. Peter's Peacocks can do if given the chance. This is what I remember as the greatest moment in my time here. And we also heard from U.S. Senator Bob Menendez, who graduated from St. Peter's in 1976, and he really got the crowd going. He said, "It's great to be back in Peacock Nation, Jersey City. As an alumni of St. Peter's, I love going up to my colleagues in the United States Senate from Kentucky and saying, 'How about those Peacocks?' All of a sudden, United States senators who only used to come up to me about a vote or about foreign relations said, 'Where is St. Peter's?' Well, folks, it's here in Jersey City." So there you go. Definitely was a great event. And again, just a great achievement to watch unfold in real time. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in again. I'll be back next week. See you soon.